What's up, everybody? This is Barnon11970. Thank you, as always, for watching my video, and hopefully you guys are enjoying your day. All right, guys, let's give a little bit of history, because as you see by the title of this video, I'm sure some people will automatically get a little upset about that, or what have you. And this will unfortunately go to show, and this includes myself, that the majority of people cannot remember everything in history, and how soon we forget other tragedies. Now, Sandy Hook, of course, was a tragedy, regardless of how it happened, whether it was exactly the way the media and the government told us, which I find hard to believe because, in the history of the media and the government, how often are they a reliable source of integrity and honesty? Or it happened as a conspiracy, like they say, and it happened in a much different way. That's irrelevant. It was a tragedy if the fact that all these children died. Okay. But this is not one of the biggest mass murders or travesties in American history. Lest we forget that before Anglo-Saxons like you and I, or African Americans who were forced here in the slave trades, there was a society here known as the American Indians. They were the real, true first Americans. And if you ever heard of the massacre on Wounded Knee, on December 29th, 1890, more than 200 Sioux men, women, and children were massacred by U.S. troops in what was called the Battle of the Wounded Knee. It was an episode that concluded the conquest of the North American Indian. This is something we need to remember. For the people who don't think our government is capable of killing its own people, any government, when it wants to take over a new land, has no problem slaughtering the native people. I mean, look over in Australia, what they did with the Aborigines. Look what they did to the Mayans and the people that were living around the Mexican area. I mean, this is something throughout history where the slaughter of people is not a concern to kings, royalty, presidents, regardless. Yes, we are more technologically advanced. Yes, we have more knowledge. This has not changed who we are as mankind. As you see in this world, it's primarily, on the most part, from the higher ups, the people that are in control. The world is run by greed. It's run by hatred, anger, murder, and lies. Now, I know there are not many American Indians walking down the street these days, and we can thank our U.S. government for doing that to a society of people. But we should never forget about this, that there were women and children, just because they were a different colored skin, and they may have had a different lifestyle, were slaughtered. And then somewhere near the end, we'll give you a couple of reservations here and there. Basically areas we don't want, and we'll forget about you. So for me, as a Irish, English, and Italian, I guess basically Anglo-Saxon male, I would love to apologize to any American Indian out there for what you had to go through. And the fact that that's never brought up is a tragedy and a travesty in itself. So, like I said, things like the Aurora shooting, the Sandy Hook shooting, things of that nature are always tragic. If one person dies from the hands of another, it's a tragedy. But we shouldn't forget history and realize that a whole society of people were slaughtered so we could take their land. And they could say whatever they want about how they justified it. But these were peaceful people that we slaughtered to own this country. So if you don't think your government gives a rat's ass about some mouth feeder, as they like to call us, who will really do nothing, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, just imagine a cattle rancher who owns, let's say, 20,000 cattle. Do you think he cares if he has to kill one or two of them because they're diseased? Do you think he'll even feel sorry about it? Especially when they're bringing them to slaughter anyway? We're a slave society. Just because we don't have chains doesn't mean we are not helping to keep the wheel turning. And there are so many of us, we're expendable. We have to get that through our heads. I feel bad for all societies that have to deal with this. So we can all cry victim all we want, but until we recognize our history and the history of all other nations, where they got some of their lands that they possess, how many millions of people, including children, died and were slaughtered so the few could profit. I want you to think about that. Thanks for watching, guys.